The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The webinar will start in 5 minutes. Thank you for standing by. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's ArcGIS Online webinar, which will look at some of the new functionality that has recently been added to ArcGIS Online. It will also look at some of the different ways you can market your maps once they are created in ArcGIS Online. During the presentation, all participants will be in listen-only mode. If you are experiencing technical difficulties joining the GoToWebinar session, there are details in the Info tab on who to contact, or you can email mapsmakesense@esri-ireland.ie or use the chat box on the right-hand side of your screen. We are using audio broadcast for today's event. You may have noticed a small dialog box in the upper left-hand corner of your screen. This box must remain open to hear audio. It can be moved if it is obstructing your view. If you would like to chat to us, please use the chat box on the right-hand side of your screen as well. To ask a question at any time, please feel free to do so by using the Q&A box on the right-hand side of your screen. This will also be available through a floating toolbar, which will appear on the bottom right-hand of your screen when we are in demo. Questions and answers will be addressed at the conclusion of today's presentation. Okay, so welcome to today's webinar, which will look at the different ways to market and share your ArcGIS Online maps with the public, and it will go through what new functionalities have recently been added to ArcGIS Online. So what we'll cover today will be, as I said, the recent updates to ArcGIS Online. We'll look at some of the different apps that are there that you can use, such as the GeoForm. We can configure this and show you a couple of examples. We'll look at the web app builder, how to put it together and what it looks like, and we'll look at the map journal just because it's a really great template that I'm not sure if you've used before, but I just want to show you how easy it is to put together. And then we'll move on and we will look at our approach to marketing web maps from Esri Ireland. We'll look at how you can set up your social presence and how you can target audiences to view your maps. We'll also show how to get your web maps noticed. We'll show you some good examples, and we'll show you how to get your maps found online. So part one will look at the recent updates to ArcGIS Online. We'll look at the web app builder for ArcGIS, which is in beta. We'll look at some feature layers, custom roles, analysis tools, the GeoForm, and we've also created a sample GeoForm that you can fill in after today to get a feel of how to use it and the look and feel of it. So we just put a bit.ly together, which you can see if you want to go and fill it in and tell us what your favorite coffee shop is. And then we'll look at the map journal as well. So I'm going to just look at the web app builder first. So I've just got a web map here in ArcGIS Online, and I'm just going to click share. And I've shared it here, shared it with my group for today, and make a web application. From here I've got all of the different templates that you're used to seeing, but there's a new tab called the Web App Builder Data. So you can click on this and click Getting Started. So here we're going to build our custom app, and we'll run through the steps for doing this. So it'll look by default, as you can see here, but we want to style it in a different way and configure it up so that it has all the tools that we like working with. So the two different themes here, there's the foldable theme, which is the default, and the tab theme, which is this one here. And I like this one because it just has a nicer look and feel, different colors going through it. And it's got all the different tabs to create bookmarks, your layer list, your geoprocessing services if you have them, editing, and your layer list here with all your different options, as you can see. So for this example, we're going to select the layer list or the tab theme. So you can also select your different layers as well. So you've got the black color or the blue color, as you can see. So I'm just going to go with the black for now. And you can decide what your layer is to look like this or like this. So it just changes slightly. the default extent button changes. So you can just select it. So once that tab is gone through, you can move on to map. And when you're in map, you can change, so we just have a sample false map here, but you can change your web map that you want to be in your application. You can also use the current map view, or you can use the web map default extent that's set for the web map as well, so you can change this. Once that's done, you can go to your widget, and you've got some default ones in it already, but you can also configure your own widget to it. So we've got bookmarks, we've got legends, we've got geoprocessing, we've got edit and layer list. So we can go through some of them. For instance, we can select which layers that are editable on the map, so we can just click these ones. And we've got some other options here, and we can click OK. We can go to geoprocessing, and if we've got a task URL, we can set this in here as well. And legend, we can edit it. And bookmarks, we can add a new bookmark, and here's some default ones that are there already, so you can put new ones in. So I'm just going to click here to add a new widget. So you've got a variety of different widgets to choose from. So say, for example, I'd like the directions widget on this application. I can click OK, and I can click OK. And I've got directions, and we can click it again, and we can add maybe measurements or query, so you can decide which one you want. And these will all be added. These measurements, you can change the different units of measurements. And then for query, you can input a new query into the query setup box here. So I'm just going to go into this. So once this is done, you can go on to attributes, and you can change things like the title, so add different links and things like this, which we picked up on the map. And what's useful about the web app builder is that you can, once you save it, you can have different previews to what it looks like on different devices. So you'll see exactly what it looks like depending on who your end user will be for this. So say, for instance, the iPhone 5. Or you can go to the iPad. So it just gives you an idea of the look and feel of what it will look like on these different devices, depending on which one that your end user is using or chooses to use. It'll give you an idea of what it looks like. When it's completed and you have it configured with the different widgets that you'd like, you have the ones you have a standard that you can choose from, and the ones that are there already. That we've set up, you can click Launch. Once this is done, you have your new web app builder application in ArcGIS Online that you can then work with and send to people to use your own customized app. Okay? So I'm just going to go back here, and the next thing we'll look at is feature layers. So I'm just going to explain what these are. So with the latest release of ArcGIS Online, feature layers have been improved, and the user experience for them has been improved for updating data in your existing ArcGIS Online hosted feature layers. You can now override features in hosted feature layers published from a shapefile or file geodatabase and maintain the URL and layer properties. This is useful if your source data is updated frequently and you want to overwrite a hosted feature layer used in maps and apps. For example, during an active wildfire, emergency responders can use a hosted feature layer in a web app to communicate about fire perimeters, shelter locations, and so on. Updating the data within the existing feature layer allows the responders and citizens to quickly see the latest information. so this has just been improved for user experience. So the next thing we'll look at is some of the analysis tools. And I'll just go back. My map here. So for the analysis tools, if we just go over to these layers, so perform analysis, and there's been new tools added that will let you find the minority and majority of grouped values, as well as the ability to calculate their percentages. So if you're going to run like aggregating the number of points within administrative boundaries, say, for example, in this map, and you can click on these tick boxes, and what they'll do is, if this checkbox is enabled when you choose a field to group by, if you want to find out which attribute within each group are the minority, least dominant, or the majority, most dominant within each boundary, select add minority, majority. But you can also add percentages to find out the percentage of which are the minority or the majority. So you can have a look at this, it's just been added, and it's quite useful. You can also, when planning routes, include numbered labels along the stop sequence is displayed on the map as well. They're just some of the different updates that have been added to the analysis tool that you might use already. So the next one we'll look at today is the GeoForm. So the GeoForm is fully supported and available in Esri as a configurable app, and no longer part of the early adopters templates group. The GeoForm allows users to edit feature data in a form instead of a pop-up window. We continue to modernize all of the existing templates with updated styles and more adaptable designs for mobile devices. And for this release, for example, the filter, find, edit, and filter have been redesigned. Their configurable panes have been redesigned. But for this example, we're going to look at the GeoForm. So I'll give you a couple of ones that I created earlier. For example, this one. So this is an example of one that we've put together just for today, and it's called the Best Coffee in Ireland. So we are going to fill in the survey and click on the map to enter the location of your favourite coffee shop in Ireland. So it just looks something like this. So you can enter your information, and you can click down. So it's really user-friendly, it's really easy to use and neat as well, and just really simple questions. So you can just select as you go. And then when you finish at the end, you can click on the map. Okay, there's not a coffee shop here, but I'm just going to show you. So you can click on the map, and then you can submit the form. And this will be added to the GeoForm. So you can look at it. Excuse me. So your point will be added to the map at the end. So once you have your GeoForm filled in, you can send this out. It's a really easy way of collecting information and crowdsourcing information from your different users. And what you can do then when you're finished to see the results of your survey is you can go back in once all your information is collected and your survey is completed. And you can easily just go back into the web map. Open it. I'm just going to zoom in here. And I'm going to go down and show my show table. So here's all the points that have been added so far into this map. As you can see. You've listed how many people filled in the survey and what they actually said. Once your survey is completed, you can go down to perform analysis, and you can use the manage data sign to extract your data out. For example, as a CSV file or a shapefile, whichever you want to do. And then, yeah, so I'll just show you as well. I've got configure pop-ups turned off in this because I don't want everyone seeing what other people have written, but just to show you the information behind it as well. So I'll just show you how that's put together and how these drop-downs are set up here for you to get the answers to your questions. So how that was done was started off in our catalog here, and you've got your geodatabase, and I just worked off the names for this. So you can go down to properties, and I've got different domains set up, as you can see. Do you drink coffee? Do you go to coffee shops? How often do you go to coffee shops? Why do you go to coffee shops? And I've got the answers to them here. So once that was set up, I just opened it in an ArcMap document, and I've got them all my fields set up, as you can see here. And I just published that into ArcGIS Online. I'm just going to sign in. So I've set up with no base map ready to go to be published into ArcGIS Online. That makes sense. It's just a blank feature class that I'm publishing for my survey. Got my item description, and I'm going to share it with everybody and today's group. I'm going to analyze it. I know these ones already, and it's going to publish OK. So I'm just going to click publish and push it into my ArcGIS Online account to create my feature service that will be inputted into my GeoForm survey. Takes a couple of minutes. Just while this is publishing, that's the link there if you want to go and fill in the survey. bit.ly as Ireland. Okay, so that's been published successfully, so I'm going to go back to my ArcGIS Online account, and I'm going to go into my content. And I've got my feature layer here, so I'm going to click into it. I'm going to click Edit and scroll down. And what I want to do is, I want to prevent this item from being accidentally deleted. I want to enable editing, but I'm kind of deciding what type of editing I want the user to be able to do. So I don't want the user to be able to delete other people's surveys, which are going to be different points in the map. So I'm only going to allow my end user to add features only, and I can keep tracks as well. I'm just going to click Save. So once this is done, I'm going to add layer to a new map. Change its name. I'm going to save my map. And once this is done, I'm going to click share, share it everybody, share it my group for today. Make a web application, go into the second tab, go into GeoForm, publish, save and publish. Okay, so this opens in my GeoForm builder, as you can see. So we can select a web map if it's not going to be the default one we selected, but we want to use this one, so it's okay. And we're going to click next. We're going to select the survey layer, which is this. Click next. We're going to give it a name. We're going to put an image in here for the image, say for instance this one. I've got one here. In there, and I'm going to say okay. And there's lots of different help text you can put in different look and feel and text and so on, and links and images, whichever you'd like you can input. You can click next. You can decide, say for instance, to edit these fields slightly. For example, I want to put question mark, because the question. And I want to select what they look like. So I'm going to select radial buttons, and my user is selecting the answer. So you're going to click next. You've got a variety of themes to choose from. To go through them, so they all look slightly different. But for this, I just like a simple one. And I'm going to click next. I'm going to scroll down here, and I'm going to make my points brown, because I think the colour looks nice when copy. And click next, and it'll give me a preview of what my GeoForm looks like. So you can enter this and put it anywhere that you'd like, any base map you want to use as well. And then you can click publish, and save, and see your application. So it's as easy as that to create your GeoForm and send it out to crowdsource some information. So we have been working with the Dublin Cycling Campaign for over the last couple of months, and they've actually worked and put a GeoForm together to survey Dublin bike paths and bike parking in Dublin City. So I can show you the one that they've created. So they've received over 750 responses since the release of the survey on the 5th of November, and they received some valuable information and public awareness of this issue in Dublin City. As you can see, we can send this on afterwards, but it's 4,500 bikes were reported stolen in 2013, and there's a big under-reporting problem. They estimate the real figure 20,000, and they'd like people to fill in the survey to provide some information to design a plan in conjunction with the Gardaí, the City Council, city planners and bike trade to tackle this problem. So they filled this out, and they've added lots of information and steps for people to follow to make it as easy as possible to get results from the survey. And we can also send this on afterwards if you want to fill it in. So what they've done is they were in contact to publicize this survey that they've created and to get as most amount of people to fill it in as possible. They're in contact with different media providers like Morning Ireland, RT, 90 FM, Today FM, different cycling clubs, and through social media. For example, through Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. They've put a plan together on how they're going to get this pushed out so the most amount of people see it. For example, they aim to release it every day between 12 and half 1. That was when the batch response happened. They pushed it out, and they got influential people to also retweet it. for example, Stephen Roach and Nicholas Roach. So that's how they kind of pushed it out. But Joanne will look at this. Joanne McLaughlin, who's their marketing manager here in Esri Ireland. In the next part of today's webinar, she'll go through this in more detail. So the GeoForm is a really good way. So move on as well. I'm just going to run quickly to look at some custom roles and go through these with you. So we have our, going to go back here. Just for some administration of your account, if you're creating maps that you're going to push out with different users, just to be aware of your custom roles and your credit usage. So you can access custom roles through edit settings, and we can go down to roles, and so you can create a role. Say for example, based off a role that's already there. Say for example, you're trying to control your credits and really figure out what different people are doing in your organization with your credits. And you can do different things like reducing the credits that other users in your account can actually do. So you can turn off the geo services because they use credits, for example, geocoding. So you can set up a custom role, and then once the custom role is set up, exactly what that role, that type of user can do. For example, if they can use the geo services, if they can share, because you might not want different people sharing with the public and you only want them sharing with your organization, and you might never want them to edit. You just literally want them to view. So you can just set this up, the role, and once you save the role, just give us a unique name. You can then go back to your My Organization and decide which user in your account, what they can actually do based on the role that you've just configured. So that's restricted. You've configured that custom role, that role can only do certain things. And now because that role is assigned to that person, they can only do what you've assigned to that custom role. So this is a way to manage your credits, to know exactly which credits are being used and how they're being used. So that's just the custom roles. The very last thing that I'll show you today before I pass it over to Joanne is the map journal, which I think is a really nice application to push different images and media out there. So I just want to show you how easy it is to configure, just in a really simple example. So I've got one I had created earlier, this one. Okay, so I just created this, and so it's got a main slide that's got an image such as places to go in Dublin, and I just put some of the different demo maps that I've created lately together. And we can scroll through. So we've got images, we've got a mix of maps, images, and web applications as well. As you can see here. So I'm just going to give you a quick demo of how to put one of these together. So I'm going to go to So we'll start here. So what you can do is, once you have your web map, you can click Share. You can decide who you want to share it with and make a web application. We can scroll and go to the story map journal, which is here, and click Publish, and click Save and Publish. Okay, I'm just going to change its name. Save and Publish. So you select which type of map journal you want to create. So we've got different looks and feels. This one is a layout of the cartography. It focuses on the map, and this one has more focus placed on the side panel, which gives you the information. So we're just going to go with the first one to start off with, and we'll just give this a name. This is the main stage, so it'll ask you what you want to put in here. So you can put your map, your image, a video, a web page. So for this, I'm going to put a image in to start off with, and I can put it in from these different sites or just a URL. So if I the URL is put here, so I'm going to put this one in first. Click next. Add. So I have it there. And next I'm going to click Add as Action, and this time I'm going to use a map. So I'm going to add my different maps. I'm going to add my coffee map. So I've got its web map ID, so I'm actually just going to put it in here. I'm going to browse some more maps, browse for the web map ID, and search for it. There it is, and click Next. I'll give it a name. So you can put way more information than what I'm giving it right now, but I just want to show you the steps to do it. So you've got your web map, as you can see, and it all carries through. And we can add a section again, and this time we might add another map. And again, I'm just going to add the web map for this. Which I've got the web map ID here. Then I'm going to search by. Let's go back. There So you can work away on adding your different sections into the map, just adding sections. You can organize them and scroll through them so you can make it as full or as content filled as possible as if you want. And once you're finished, you can just click Save, and then you can go to Settings and you can change your different fonts. For example, have some more emphasis in placing the map. You can change your theme and color, your font, and your header. And just click Apply, and then you can check. And then just really quickly, that's kind of the setup for your map journal, so it's as easy as that, and how to add the different content into it. Okay. So we've been getting feedback from some customers about how to market maps through social media and how to get maps noticed and found online. So we've put together a section in today's webinar about this. So I'll pass over to Joanne McLaughlin, our Marketing Manager in Esri Ireland, to discuss this now. So, morning everybody, and you're very welcome, and thanks for joining in today. The second part of today are ArcGIS Online maps with the public. So for the next 20 minutes or so, I'll be chatting about some of these ways and how you can market your web maps more effectively using online and social media marketing. So we'll talk about our approach to marketing web maps, setting up your social media presence, a word about your target audiences, what you should be thinking about there, how to get your web maps noticed, some examples of maps that have gotten good traction in the media recently, how to get your maps found online and ways we can help you to do that. And then finally we'll sum up and conclude today's session. So how we consume information online has changed dramatically over the last couple of years, from really text-heavy websites to a much richer multimedia experience. Marketing departments, communication departments and press offices are always looking for innovative ways to present information and create a better online user experience for their customers. So how do you leverage your GIS skills to raise your profile, the profile of your organization, and get more people looking at, sharing and enjoying your web maps? One of the easiest ways to do this is through the use of online and social media. So at Esri Ireland, we've been experimenting with this over the last couple of years. What works best for us may or may not work well for you and your organizations, but I can take you through our experience and approach and share that with you today. You may or may not already have a social media presence in your organization, or you may focus on one social media channel or use a mix of all of them. We view our social media here as one of our many communications channels. We focus primarily on LinkedIn and Twitter, but we also push content out over Facebook, our YouTube channel and our company blog. Responsibility for managing social media may sit with your marketing team, your communications department or your press office, or some of you may be in charge of it directly. My advice is to find out who's responsible for social media in your organization and to connect with them. Does your company or organization have a social media strategy? And how can the web maps that you create be incorporated to be part of that plan? How can you, as GIS users and managers, shine a light on all of the great work that you're doing with web maps? So for a minute, we'll take some time to go through some basic social media rules of thumb to start off with. Setting up social media profiles on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook, or any of the social networks can be quite a lot of work, especially if you're starting from scratch. It can feel like a big impediment to overcome before you start actually using it. You need to choose a photo or fill out a bio when all you want to do is really start connecting with it, start sharing content, and engaging with your community. But your social media profile is really important. It's a window into your personality and the personality of your organization, its ethos, its mission, and even its values. So it can help drive people to your website or other online collateral. It can promote some of your best content. It can lead you to new clients learning more about your products, services, or offerings. So therefore, your profile on any social media network needs to be both impressive and discoverable. So it's worth investing some time and effort in order to set up your profile properly. Or if you've neglected your company profile for an extended period of time, it can be just as important to give it a good overhaul. So whether you have a social media presence or not, or you're just starting out, this company, Hootsuite, have put together a great blog which takes you through the various steps you should take. And I can share this link with you after the webinar is over. It's really good, so it's worthwhile just having a read over it. Whether you're actually already on social media or just starting. So what are the things that you need to think about to help market your web maps more effectively? Well, firstly, my advice is to think about your target audience. What types of people in your organization can you leverage to amplify your web map stories? For example, if you're a local authority, web maps may be very relevant for your tourism officer, your communications or press officer, or your culture or arts representative. If you're an FMCG company like Cadbury's or Diageo, your marketing department could be interested in using web maps as part of a mobile marketing campaign. Or marketing managers or webmasters may want to increase traffic to a particular part of your website, and interactive maps can be a good way to engage people in this way. Then I think about the external audience. So what groups of people or communities could make good use of your web maps? You may want to share your maps via the online sites of your local newspapers, as well as the national press, radio stations, community groups, outreach programs, schools or colleges, and sports clubs, enterprise boards, your local chamber offices, or your local or national tourism or leisure sites. There's so many new online news titles now available to you to share your information on your maps. So don't underestimate the value of these new type of online sites. These are outside of the more well-known brands like the Irish Times, the Independent, or and so on. So sites like The Score here, the Day, Her.ie, they all get huge online views and shares. So it's definitely worth thinking about these if you've got a good web map and story to tell. And these sites are also really popular with the Irish community globally. So decide on your target audience for your map, both inside and outside your organization. And then over time, start to build up a database of people, groups, and online sites, news sites to send your maps to. So how do you grab people's attention with your maps? Once you've decided on who you'll be sending your web maps to, how do you actually get their attention? So here's a few simple rules that we follow in Esri Ireland. What's your end in mind? Decide what purpose your story map or your map will be for. Is it for a local audience, a global audience, or a time factor? Evoke emotion with your map. So think about evoking emotions and storytelling as a proven way of getting your maps noticed and shared. If it evokes emotion and tells a great story, people are more likely to share it with their network, their colleagues, and even their family and friends. Does your web map connect with real-time events? So Twitter talk about not only target audiences, but about target moments. What do I mean by that? Well, in Twitter's view, connecting with real-time events is one of your best social tactics. This can be a challenge in terms of having resources available to work on the fly when, real-time events are happening. And we can sometimes struggle with this ourselves. However, these type of maps have the best chance of going viral and nearly always perform better both in terms of views and shares. So what can you do in your organizations to be ready for a major event? What can you do to plan, predict, and post for? Twitter's advice really is this whole ethos of pushing while the door is open. So this is an example of what the Visit England organisation did when England lost again on penalty shootouts back in 2012 during the European Championships. It's a really simple message, kind of tongue-in-cheek, but really effective. And look at the amount of tweets and retweets that it actually achieved. There was like over 9,000 retweets and 1,500 almost favourites. So kind of think about it in a way, like what are the national events or occasions in 2015 that you can plan, predict, and post for? And how can you have your own web maps ready to post when sentiment and online activity is at its highest? So that's really key message to get across. So you could be thinking about weather events like drought, snow, floods, music events, festival gigs, sporting events, golf events, the Rugby World Cup's coming up next year, or any of the big GAA events or fixtures which people follow in Ireland. There's also things like elections or sort of political interest maps that you could be thinking about. So let's maybe go through some examples of web maps that have gotten good traction in the media recently. And so I think a good rule of thumb is that maps that tell stories or inform perform well. So as a marketer, I love a good story myself, and tell the right story. And I suppose you capture attention, entertain, enlighten, and persuade. And stories are really memorable and shareable, and these are two of the most important aspects of the very best online content. So this example here was run on the Fox Sports website. So this year, Fox TV Sports produced an interactive map of the history of the Super Bowl for their website. And it chronicled every game from a geographical sense, the coldest Super Bowl ever, and the teams with the most wins, which county consumed the most beer during Super Bowl. And this provided a fun way for Fox Sports fans to get engaged before the game. Also from a business perspective, the Super Bowl map uncovered lots of potential marketing opportunities as well. If you know what county consumes the most beer, it's probably an ideal location to advertise or promote beer-related products, or even conduct sampling activity to new beer drinking segments. So this is really powerful stuff. The second example is around an article that was run by the Seattle Times, and this online news publication published some really insightful interactive maps around the mudslide that happened a few years ago in Oso. The decades preceding the deadly landslide reflected a shifting landscape. So even as warnings mounted, people kept moving into this area. So there were warnings from scientists, failed attempts to stabilize the hill, the logging on or near the unstable slope, and the 37 homes that were built below the hill only to be destroyed. So really here, I guess the essence is that planners failed to get the tree felling boundaries correct, and that had devastating effects. So Esri produced this map, an interactive map, which was also featured in the Seattle Times, and it shows a detailed view of the neighborhood hit by the landslide before and after. So the map shows the addresses of people affected by the slide and people accounted for, missing, and deceased. So this is, again, a really powerful story using GIS and maps to show the human impact of this tragedy in a visual way, and that was really easily understood. So think about how you could apply news stories or events that take place in Ireland or globally, and how can you team up with partners in your community to co-market your organisation using web maps. Some other good examples of maps that tell interesting stories I'll go through now. So this is a rated map created by Chris McAlorum of Dard, and he entered our Maps Make Sense competition this summer. And this was around the mission to eradicate rabies by 2013. So again, a really evocative story that captures people's attention and makes people want to read and share this map with their colleagues in their network over social media. Secondly, something that's in the news at the moment, you can't get away from it, is the Ebola map. And this was created by Esri UK and ran in the Guardian newspaper. Again, it got lots of shares and likes, and that's still climbing. And it was around the history of the Ebola virus since 1976. Another quite topical map that Esri UK created was Scotland's historical relationship with the UK during the time of the referendum in Scotland. So, you know, like, it just captures the attention of people in the public when there's a lot of press stories going on at the time, and it's everywhere in the media, so it's a good time to get your maps out there for a better chance of them going viral. So this is another story map that was very evocative, and it kind of headlines the key events of the First World War from 1914 to 1918, and that was created by Gerald Wilson, another Maps Make Sense entry, and definitely worth a look in terms of virability and shareability. And then this is also a map that was created by Esri Inc., and it's around the Titanic anniversary, so again, topical time to release it. And it details the fate of the passengers on the Titanic and the class in which they travelled, as well as where they came from and if they survived or not. And that was published on the CNET website and got a lot of attention, so something worth thinking about in terms of news events happening. A little bit closer to home, this is a map that was created by Dara McDonough from Donegal County Council, his winter gritting map. And this pulls in real-time weather feeds and is another fantastic example of how to capture eyes and get shared. So this provides real value not only to stakeholder companies like gritting suppliers, public safety organisations and local online news publications, but also for the general public and their safety. It's really impactful. The ambulance response times map looks quite simple and it looks quite basic in format. But again, this kind of hit home and was very emotive for everyone throughout the country and did well in terms of views and shares because people identify with human interest stories very well. The Tralee Secret Audio Trail Map by Mick Harkin of Kerry County Council. This audio tour takes you through a variety of stories about the town of Tralee in medieval times at various locations. Each location is within walking distance and the full tour takes about 2 hours. But think of the value of a map like this to the local tourist office or history museum or during Heritage Week, for example. So think about how this could be applied to events like the recent Web Summit that took place in Dublin and that was attended by 20,000 people. So like a walking tour of Dublin that people can access from their mobile while they're attending the Web Summit, again, would be something really powerful. The Wild Atlantic Way Story Map, produced by the guys in Spatial Northwest, Rosita and Loretta. And this was picked up by Ireland.com. And again, this type of map has huge marketability locally in Ireland and tourist sites in the US, or for that matter, any of the Irish diaspora sites globally. So coming on to the next section, we looked at how to get your maps noticed, but how do you actually get your maps found online? So what are some of the practical ways that you can get your web maps found? Again, a few simple rules. Think about a title for your map and a hashtag to go with it, as well as a short URL, and then share it with everybody. So make sure you have an interesting title for your map, one that captures attention and raises the curiosity of people who might stumble across it online. When sharing your map in your social media posts, make sure that you use a matching hashtag and a bit.ly link. So by using the bit.ly link, you can also customize your URLs and measure the clicks that it gets. And by using consistent hashtags and links in all of your online posts, it just makes it easier for it to get traction and for it to be shared. So ask other members of your organization, your company, to do the same when they share your maps with their network, and include relevant Twitter handles in your posts. Companies or organizations that may be interested in your web maps, for example, with sort of a GAA-related map, you could tag the companies that sponsor the team and the GAA players that are active on Twitter, the GAA itself, pro park, sports commentators or personalities that are active on Twitter and so on. Secondly, you should always make sure that your maps can be found on your homepage of your own site. So there's currently no way for a search engine to crawl data or metadata of apps hosted on ArcGIS Online. ArcGIS Online hosted apps are limited in terms of their availability, but I know as you're exploring ways to improve this. There are other things that you can do. So present the web maps you create well on your own company web pages. Anchor your featured maps on your homepage and work with your marketing manager or website manager to make sure it's optimized for search engines. You can partner up with your businesses in your community. They might have a joint story to tell or market with you, so it's worthwhile connecting with people that you think would also be able to leverage your GIS skills and their business services too. You can ask these organizations to feature your map or link to it from their website. I guess think of your maps in the same way you think about images on a website. Images by themselves don't necessarily tell the whole story. You need to see them in conjunction with the text. So your map could be presented as an attractable, clickable screenshot. You can embed your maps within the homepage or by including a simple link or set of links. This will push your map and website further up Google rankings so your work can be found more easily. Other channels that are available to get your web maps noticed are through both the Esri distributor network and Esri Ireland. So Esri have lots of online websites and microsites as well as a huge variety of print media. So they're always looking for good web maps for their online and print publications, including ArcNews and ArcUser, which you may have already seen articles in that feature our own customers here from Esri Ireland. And we've got a great relationship with the global marketing team there, as well as the print editors for Esri publications. So they've featured lots of stories from you guys in their ArcNews publication, and that circulates to over 1 million people. So definitely worth getting involved and letting us know if you've got a story to tell. I'm more than happy to work with you to get that publicised in one of these publications. So it's an easy way to get your maps marketed and provides like a really good PR opportunity for you and for your organization at zero cost. They're also very active on social media, and so Esri have lots of Twitter accounts, Facebook and LinkedIn groups. So my advice would be to use their Twitter handle at Esri and at Esri Story Maps for starters. So they actively tweet and retweet maps that are sent to them. And they have a dedicated story maps team which is constantly on the lookout for interesting web maps. They're particularly interested in maps that respond to news events. So the examples around Scottish independence and the Ebola maps are good examples here, which are referenced earlier on in the webinar. So make sure you use the story maps hashtag if you're creating story maps. So if users do tweet their story maps, they'll see it and retweet the best ones through the Esri Story Maps Twitter account. And these are followed by a huge amount of people, including Esri industry accounts and other Esri staff, as well as lots of followers worldwide. You can also submit your web maps through the story maps via the Esri gallery and the link you'll see here, which again I'll share around after the webinar is over. So this year they also ran their first story maps competition. You can view the winners here at this website, which I'll share a link around afterwards. And it's something worth thinking about entering for next year, as I'm sure they're going to run the competition again. So it's a good way to get eyes on your maps and get people sharing your maps on a global scale. And finally, don't forget that we're here for you to actually help market your work. So we're more than happy to work with you in a variety of different ways. So you can send us your web map links, and we can link to your maps from our news announcements page on our website. We can also feature your web map on our homepage. You can simply send your news byte map link to mapsmakesense@esri-ireland.ie, and we can help you co-market and push out your content on our company site and through our social media platforms. On our LinkedIn page, we've also created new showcase pages, and one of which profiles the work of our maps, our customers' maps, and maps from the global GI community. If you haven't already liked our company page or showcase pages, I would encourage you to do this. Or if you'd like to share maps that you've created on these pages, you can send them on to me and I can have them uploaded. No problem at all. So this year, I know we had 20 entries to our Maps Make Sense competition. So not only is this a great way to learn more about ArcGIS Online while you're using it and all of the new templates and some of the functionality that Aileen spoke about, but it's also good so you can be given a chance to travel to an Esri headline event and get your maps kind of noticed through the Esri channels that I mentioned earlier. So this year, as I said, we had 20 entries and 5 highly commended maps, including the winner, with all sorts of interesting web maps and stories. So the winner, Norma McSorley, which you can see here from Coleraine Borough Council, went to Croatia a few weeks ago, and where they had the European User Conference there with his winning rally map. So he got to hang out with other interesting map makers, including Jack Dangermond, and you can see here he used quite a nice way in which he expressed himself there, using the Irish Twitter handle, the Coleraine Borough Council Twitter handle, the User Conference handle as well. So you really do get a good sense of what sharing your maps can do when you can travel to these kind of headline events and everyone's in for a chance. So we encourage you to keep informed of the next competition, which will be coming up in the new year. You can also profile your web maps via awards. So this year we're sponsoring the Digital Geography category again at the Aircom Spiders. And Justin Gleeson from Aero and Christopher McAloran from Dard made the shortlist of 8 this year. And the winner is going to be announced this Thursday night at the Convention Centre, and it's attended by over 800 people from the Irish business community. So again, a great way to get eyes on your maps and get your maps shared and market your maps for virtually no cost except your time. So Rosita O'Mahony and Loretta McNichols from the Spatial Northwest team were finalists in the AGI Awards, which took place last Thursday, the 13th of November, and they were highly commended in 2 awards. So nominating your web maps for these types of awards is another great way to get your work noticed and profiled for free. You will need time to prepare your nomination, but it's definitely worth the effort, especially if you get shortlisted or even win. We're also more than happy to co-host webinars if you'd like to share your ArcGIS Online marketing successes with the GI community. And if you'd like to participate in something like this, contact either myself or Aileen afterwards. and we can set these up with you in the new year. You can do this remotely through our GoToWebinar facility, so it won't cost you anything in terms of getting up to Dublin or anything like that. You can do it remotely. Or if you've got an interesting story or web map that you'd like to share or that could translate well into a case study, we'll be happy to work with you to make this happen. So just let us know and we can work with you for that. We also wanted to thank everybody and recognise our customers for supporting our Maps Make Sense competition over the last couple of years, and we've been running this since 2012. So we really do appreciate all of the great work that you've been doing using ArcGIS Online, both individually and in organisations. So we will be having a Maps Make Sense Christmas celebration on the 4th of December, and that's going to take place in the National Gallery of Ireland. So it's a really gorgeous venue, again, full of lovely images and galleries of its own. So we thought that this would be a nice setting to get everybody together. So if you'd like to join in and be part of this growing community of ArcGIS Online users, it's also a great opportunity to network with your peers and exchange ideas around your experience with AGOL, and maybe even your marketing challenges in a relaxed and formal way. So for more information, and if you'd like to come along to that, we encourage you to get in touch through Maps Make Sense at esri-ireland.ie. So it'd be a good way to kick off the Christmas season. So yeah, get in touch. So finally, to wrap up, ideally marketing your web map should form part of your overall marketing strategy or communication strategy within your organization. So as you can see, there are lots of easy ways you can share and market your map that won't cost you the earth. However, getting up and running with social media does take a time investment. And you need to have people available to make maps and spend time promoting them and to listen online to monitor where the maps have actually been picked up. But it is very doable, and there are simple ways that you can get up and running. So again, happy to advise you on that if you want to get in touch afterwards. So I've kind of shown you the approach that we use here at Esri Ireland to amplify our stories and maps. And both Esri Inc. and ourselves through the Esri Ireland marketing channels are available to you, and we really do encourage you to get in touch and take advantage of this support. So we're always on the lookout for great content from you guys. So any ideas that you have, please get in touch, and both myself and Aidan can help you out in any way that we can. So yeah, just be prepared for a little bit of time, but it's worth the investment for the payoff that you get in terms of getting eyes on your maps. So we'll email you a recording of this webinar, and it will be posted online later on today. For future events, please contact us via our landing page here, which is esri-ireland.ie/events. Any questions can be sent to us via the Maps Make Sense email that you're seeing there on the screen, and we'd really appreciate it if you could fill out the post-event survey, as it helps us shape relevant content for future events and webinars. So thanks for listening, and we hope that was useful. I'm not sure whether you have any questions or not. So we're just checking to see if we have any questions. We have a few questions there, but I'm just conscious that we've probably ran over time a little bit. Yeah. So we might just take the questions offline and contact people directly, or share them with the group who attended today afterwards, if that's okay. Yeah. So that's it for myself and Nadine. So really appreciate your time, and we'll probably be in touch in January with the next webinar series. So. And we'll respond to all the questions as well and send them on to everybody. And some of the links that we've mentioned in today's webinar, we'll also forward them on to you as well if they're of interest. And so yeah, so much. Thanks very much. Thanks. Take care. Bye now.